Hey everyone, I'm coming back as a follow-up of our jelly plate session, which didn't really go well, but I had fun playing around with things. I am very limited with my color scheme, so it wasn't producing stuff that I enjoyed as much. So I still wanted to put pattern on paper, but I didn't really want to take out my jelly plate and mess around with that. So I took this that I made. This is a lint roller with sticky pages, and I just cut out foam shapes and made designs with the foam shapes, like different spraying patterns. Now, what I did was I just run it through the ink, and I had these two colors here. My ink was drying up a little bit, so I spray it with some alcohol spray. I have some alcohol, rubbing alcohol in here, and then I just spray it down, and that reactivates some of the ink. And then I'm able to spread it with this one. Now, I also wanted to do dots. And this is ultimately, I'm telling you guys, this is what you should go to Dollar Tree to buy. This makes such great dots and makes such good impressions when you use it that it's worth it. Even if it's just a small little plate like this, because I mean you can use the other side too. It just makes little round circles, but I like using this ridge side because it just makes some awesome effects. And all I did with this one, I did rub the ink pad on. So, I rubbed the ink pad on. And then it doesn't really give you a good print with this because I think there's just dry paint and stuff on it, so it's not as clear. So what I usually do is I spray it. Just a little bit of alcohol. And I grab a piece of paper, press it down, and that's what you're left with. Look how awesome that looks. And you don't have to do the whole plate. Just take a little piece, and it looks good in pieces like that, with some of it darker than others like that. It looks really cool. And then I used a couple of my stencils I don't have here, so. But if they're just regular paper stencils, I just put the stencil down, took my ink pad, rubbed it over, and then put it down here to make the circles. Now, there is a reverse ghost side that I use. If I can find it, give me a second. I just had it here. Where I took the whatever was left of on top of when I was rubbing off the ink. I flipped it and pressed it down, and then I got this lovely effect. And again, I've been adding these to everything. And that's all I did. Ink pad, stencil, Lego plate. And that's what I got. And then this is just a stencil. And you can see it on each side because it went through the paper. This paper is really thin. Then I took, for these, I didn't show you what it came out to look like. How freaking awesome is that? Now, depending on how dark you want it or how light you want it, will determine how much ink you put in it. If you don't like it really dark and you want it to be a little bit like this, where it's more background, run it on something else first, a scrap piece of paper, whatever, and then run it again. And that will give you this pastel-like effect. Look how cool that is. And you can do whatever you want. I chose these shapes just because they were easy. I had a couple punches that were circles, so I used those so I didn't have to cut everything out by hand. But you can fussy cut some images, some designs on some foam, and then just put the foam here. And when you're done with this, say you don't like these anymore, they're not usable, you can just peel it off. You have a new set, and you can ready to go again. And I know I've seen this on someone's video about jelly plate that gave me that idea. I'm sorry I don't have, or I don't remember the person's name who gave it to me, but whoever came up with this idea to just use foam figures on this was genius, because this is awesome. It's so easy to do, and you get some wonderful little backgrounds. So that's pretty much what I've been doing today. I just wanted to take some pages, make some backgrounds like if I were to use the jelly plate, but instead just rubbing it on with ink. Ink, I never used to really use ink that much, but because I'm trying to use up my supplies right now, because these are older, so they're a little drying up, so I just want to use as much of it as I can. I've been using ink a lot, and I just really like, look at this. I really like the effect that it has, where you can just use anything and make a print. Like you can use these items and put ink directly on it, or put an item underneath and rub a design on it, like how we were doing before with the different sides and how you get a print from it. Instead of using crowns, we use ink pads, and it gives you the same kind of idea as these things. So you don't have to even directly put the ink on the item. You can just put the item underneath. And if it has good defined ridges and impressions, when you go on top of the paper with the ink pad, it will show up. So guys, if you're looking for some way to break a page, make some colorful designed papers for whatever reason, journal or art pages or whatever, book pages, whatever you want to do that you don't want to have a blank white paper. Maybe you want to cut these up and use for collage. This is how I like to do it. It's simple, easy, less frustrating than a jelly plate. Don't get me wrong, I love the jelly plate. I just wish I could use it more. But yeah, this works really well. And that's all. Using these simple things, you can get a lot of cool design right here. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I hope it inspires you and gives you ideas moving forward. All right, bye-bye.